Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about multiplying radicals. In order to understand how to multiply radicals, you have to understand radical m times radical n equals radical m times n. Okay, so the first example is radical 2 times radical 8. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is you have to turn this into radical 2 times 8 with one radical sign. Then you're going to multiply these two numbers, which is going to give you 16. And you can't forget the radical sign, so you bring it down. And your answer is going to be radical 16. Okay, so the second example is 5 radical 2 times 4 radical 3. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to multiply these two numbers, which is going to give you 20. And no, you don't need a radical sign in front of it. Then you're going to want to multiply the numbers that are inside the radical sign, which is going to give you 6, and you do need the radical sign for the second number. Radical 6, and if you needed to simplify, you would do it, but in this case, you don't need to. So you're going to keep the answer the same, which is 20 radical 6. Okay, so the third question is negative 4 radical 2 times radical 12. Don't be scared of the negative 4. It's okay. Don't be frightened. Okay, so first you're going to want to simplify the 12, which is going to be 4 and 3. Notice how I didn't put 6 and 2. This is because this does not equal a perfect square. Okay, so next, you're going to put negative 4 radical 2 and then 2 radical 3. The next step to this is you're going to want to do negative 4 times 2 and 2 times 3. So it's going to give you negative 8 radical 6. Sorry, I messed up. So this is the answer. Okay, so now we're going to move on to more complicated question. I wouldn't say it's harder, but I just think there's more steps to it. Okay, so moving on. Number 4 is radical 6 times radical 3 plus radical 10. This problem is basically using the distributive property. Okay, so what you're going to want to do first is you're going to want to distribute the 6 to the 3 and the 6 to the 10. In this case, it's going to give you radical 18 plus radical 60. Okay, so now you're just going to want to simplify these two numbers, which 18 is going to give you 9 and 2 because 9 is a perfect square. So then this goes down to 3 radical 2. Okay, so now for 60, it's going to be 4 and 15, and then it's going to come down to 2 radical 15. This is your answer. This is the final answer. Okay, so the fifth question we're going to be talking about is 2 radical 3 times 5 radical 2. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to multiply 2 times 5, which is going to give you 10. Then you're going to want to multiply 3 times 2, which is going to give you 6, radical 6. You can't simplify any further because if you try, the 6 will be 2 times 3, and that doesn't work out. So you end up with 2 radical 6 as your final answer. Okay, so the last question is radical 2 times radical 9. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to multiply 2 times 9, which is going to give you radical 18. Then you want to reduce, so you're going to do 2 and 9. Then you're going to reduce the 9, which is going to be 3 and 3. And you can't leave out the 2, so you would have to do 3 radical 2. This would be your final answer.